Hello, 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 hello. This is Rich Kale here on YouTube. Rich Gen X elsewhere. And it's time for us to return to the sinking island. Yep. Now, we last left things off. Let's see, we had just gotten through the first. Yes, we just found out that the fax has been received. Yeah, we get a little recap here. Finding out some people were there. So now, we gotta go get that fax report as we start the second day of this investigation. Wait. Jack Norm's suite, yep. Where is the elevator? I need to know where the elevator is here. Okay. There we are, on 16. We gotta head up to 21st floor to get the fax report. What? What? Oh. Back. Because we're going to be working on this mandate. Hello? Why am I... What the fuck? See, I forgot how to use the damn elevator since my last time playing this. That's just bad, you know? Man, I am losing it, I swear. Okay. Okay.
I just got a fax for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Noland. Mr. Noland, this rogatory commission henceforth gives me all the powers attached to an official investigator of this case. I would like you to pass on this information to everyone on this island. Apart from that, I need a key card that gives me access to all the rooms of this tower, without any exceptions.
From now on, you're the boss, Inspector. But for the key card, you'll have to ask Lorenzo. He's the one responsible for that.
Okay. Alright. Now, let's take a look at this desk while these are away. Ooh. Oh. Alright, we get some papers that we can use for investigation purposes. Consider before informing you there are Julian and Sonia Jones to proceed with a psychiatric analysis of the person of Walter Samuel Jones, their grandfather. The motive being multiple schemes contrary to the interest of their eligible rights. My clients believe that this scheming is the result of the degradation of Mr. Walter Jones' mental facilities. Before transmitting this dossier to the court, we are soliciting you to take a first step in reconciling the affair. Oh, interesting. Hubert, you know well the feelings that I hold towards my grandchildren. I am speaking more precisely about Sonia and Billy, whose recent project to stick a psychiatric analysis on my back and put me under judicial psychiatric observation worries me a bit. This initiative clearly means to influence my position regarding their parts in inheritance. I have not changed my mind one bit on this matter and consider those two to be little troublemaking parasites who never lifted a finger in their lives. As for Marco, I am vexed to see him waste his political career by getting bogged down into a liaison with a little whore of a Russian girl who is too ambitious to be honest. I am considering inviting them and their spouses to shorten this crap procedure, all the while giving them the impression that I want to reconcile with them and give them the better part of my will. I am impatiently waiting for your always informed advice regarding this matter. Ugh.
Jones was incredibly crafty, even with his own family.
Yep. We, the undersigned, we attest to the present by the present that Walter Samuel Jones, our grandfather, is in full possession of his mental facilities, or faculties. He was never affected by any troubles or mental illness that could have perturbed his action regarding us or anyone for any motive whatsoever. We renounce starting at the present moment any procedure or legal appeal, past or future, having a purpose of stripping him of his rights and private and professional prerogatives. We recognize having acted in this way to protect ourselves from the fear of being disinherited. Jesus.
They made some sort of arrangement, that's certain.
Yeah. The civil court give Jack Norm, yeah. Okay, that's basically, and the autopsy report. Let's see, immediate cause, thrombosis of left main due to perforation of the left main pulmonary artery caused by penetration by a bullet! Oh. He was shot. Oh my god. White cotton shirt, white undergarment, lightly splattered with mud on the backside, gray vest stained with mud, coral sand, gray tie, lightly stained with mud, gray blue jacket, yada yada yada. Lividness and the congestion of the joint, da 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 da. Evidence of treatment, none. extremities. Wound 9 at the base of the dorsal trapezoid. The entry point of a bullet's 15 hours at CWAR as a test. The body... Wow. So...
Walter Jones was certainly murdered. The bullet in the middle of his chest didn't leave him a chance. So he was still alive after his fall from the edge. It's the impact of the bullet that made him fall lower down.
Okay. What was the cause of death? Well, now we can put that one to bed.
What are the causes of Walter Jones's death?
So, he was shot, which changes things.
Walter Jones is dead from a bullet in the back that perforated his right lung.
So, he was shot from behind. Great.
Hi, Reeves. The case is clear. Walter Jones was actually shot. The bullet went through his chest. We've got a murder on our hands, and I think that little hyena has nothing to do with any of this.
I read the forensics report too, Jack. In my opinion, you should concentrate on the attorney. He was at the scene of the crime too, and he hasn't spit anything out yet. He's tough, this guy. Okay, good luck, Jack.
Things are now simple. There's a murder. It's sufficient to find the murderer.
Yep. Save game has been made. Let me look out the window.
The ocean has covered the whole island. There's something on this windowsill.
Oh.
Well, well. Small bits of wood encrusted in the cement of the library windowsill.
So we're now stuck on the island. Anything else I can check out here? We did all that. What was the crime weapon? Do I have something? Oh, I do have stuff to compare. But let's hold off on that. Actually...
Various weapons could have shot a bullet of that caliber. It's not obvious which one is the arm used in the crime.
Yeah. Let's see. Nolan's business attorney. Oh, he's still in the library? Okay. Good. Let's talk to him.
Henceforth, I have a mandate and I represent the law. So no more evasive responses.
All right.
The autopsy is categorical. Walter Jones died from a bullet wound in his back, and not as a result of his fall from the Tortoise Belvedere. With all the doubts stemming from the circumstances, Baena has nothing to do with the death. Nevertheless, I would love to have your point of view on this.
I'm extremely surprised by what you're telling me, Inspector. This means Baena couldn't have killed him by throwing him down from the top of the cliff. But you will admit, nothing proves that she didn't finish off poor Walter with a shot. And her father, old Colio, could very well have helped her.
Slimy.
What were you doing at the hour of the crime, around 11 p.m.?
With all due respect, Inspector, let me remind you that I have already explained myself to you.
If the heirs had thought of inheriting, it seems they're off to a rather rocky start. What do you think?
I'll be frank with you, Inspector. Walter Jones was a man I esteemed and respected. But that Walter Jones of whom I speak disappeared long before his death. The truth is that he lost all sense of reality after his terrible accident. The fact of having become handicapped and nailed to his wheelchair made him paranoid and subject to monstrous bouts of rage. Walter Jones became a predator, obsessed by the idea that his own heirs wanted to deprive him of his fortune. He turned into an ogre toward his own descendants. He did all the dirty things one can imagine. He stopped short of nothing to hurt them. And his last act was to manipulate them, to stop them from putting him legally under psychiatric care, by making them believe that they'd inherit from him. I knew that no will existed in their favor, but what could I have done? You should know, Inspector, that Jones considered Sonia and Billy to be a pair of good-for-nothings. And if he believed briefly in Marco, in the end he concluded that the latter was a failure too, because he refused to break off with Christina, whom Walter believed to be an unscrupulous gold digger.
Do you know if Walter Jones was wearing something around his neck on the night of his death?
That evening, I have to admit I didn't pay attention, Inspector. But he usually wore a sort of chain around his neck.
Are there firearms somewhere in this tower?
I recommend that you return to the office of Walter Jones, Inspector. Walter loved guns. In his youth, he was a passionate hunter, doubling as a crack shot.
Oh boy.
Did you hear a gunshot around 11 p.m.?
I already told you that the storm was really violent at that time, an incredible racket. I don't see how I could have heard a gunshot.
Sure, I see.
All right. What's this?
Books on international law, Anglo-Saxon, and Maldivian law. Walter Jones left nothing to chance. Books on very different subjects. In English, in German, in French. There's a Spanish one here. It's strange for someone as organized as Walter Jones.
Huh. There's something odd about it, huh? Okay. This is definitely an oddity. Richter, Gray, Brown, Wisham, Jackson, Sunny, Faust, Ergothi, Kinner, oh, Walker. Art Deco, art. Rit. Oh. Uh-huh. Unless I'm missing something, and it's entirely possible I'm missing something. Unless I'm thinking in the wrong way. Wait, W. A. L. Oh. So they stay. Oh! Did I do something?
Aha! So you had a secret penchant for the bottle, Mr. Jones. Not bad as a hiding place.
Nope. Clever, actually.
No, I no longer touch this. Never at work.
What's that? Water. Oh, hello! What did we get here? File on... Oh, Hubert de Nolan. I understand Hubert de Nolan, shareholder in the Jones Company, today give up 850 Jones Company shares to Mr. Samuel Walter Jones for the nominal fee of $5. This being a global fee of $4,250 for these 850 tiles. As payment for this transaction, I recognize having received today check number from the Muldock Rail for the sum of $425. $4,250. Oh. Oh. Okay. That was interesting. And this is Walter's office. Oh my god.
Not bad, Mr. Jones.
I don't know about that. All right.
Nice little safari for the entire Jones family.
Hmm.
This does not work.
I thought I had a knife. Did I forget something?
I'm not getting it. I definitely forgot something. It's impossible.
I'm missing something. Because this is crazy. I mean, I have to find a knife? A knife. Oh. Okay. So this just means I have... You mean I gotta go back, get a knife from the set... Oh, gods above. Alright. This just means now I've got extra running around because of a knife. I also don't like the fact that I've got to run and... Well, that's because I need to get a goddamn knife.
This could be useful.
Got it. Okay. Whomever that is, I can talk to them later. God damn it, game. Now that we got a knife, because no walkthrough is ever complete. I do not like that this island is starting to get flooded. You know? Where'd Nolan go?
I'm not getting it.
Ah! Now we got another document. Oh. Jones family. Good lord. Ugh. How can he even walk? I mean, he can't walk now. Billy's spinelessness or lack of concern. Sponged off his father. Clara.
Charming, these relationships between various members of the Jones family.
Yeah. Okay. Up. Okay. Okay.
Strange, these drawers are closed and there's no obvious keyhole.
Now we have to undo more screws. another document. And I can't get that one. Obviously, that's not the one I want. Let's see what that document is. Becomes candidate. But there's something more to this, isn't there?
A classic attempt at seduction.
Okay. Okay. Alright, let's look at this gun cabinet over here.
Walter Jones really took care of his weapons.
So now I got something else, another clue or something.
The caliber of this ammunition is not the same as that of the bullet that was found in Walter Jones's body. This box of cartridges of the .270 Winchester short magnum is open, and it is missing cartridges. 7.03 millimeter caliber. Just like the bullet that killed Jones. I only have to find the weapon that could have shot this bullet.
Uh-huh.
This rifle was used recently.
Oh.
No trace. No trace. No trace. This rifle was used not long ago.
Oh.
This rifle was bolted and is the only weapon of the right caliber which still has traces of powder. It's better if I take the prints first.
Okay.
Fingerprints on a weapon. This reeks of an amateur. The smooth wood of this weapon rubbed against a rugged surface. Strange, Mr. Jones, that a man as careful as you left such an ugly scrape on your beautiful rifle.
Yeah.
The wood of the stock is still dripping with flax oil.
All right. Let's take a look at some clues and compare some shots. So.
Correct match.
But why did you manipulate this rifle, Hubert de Noland?
Uh-huh.
Correct match.
Aha! Oh.
Incorrect match.
So what am I missing? Ah, that's the way.
Correct match.
Aha! So now we know certain things. So, we know it was the gun.
The clues do not match.
Oh.
What was the weapon of the crime? The bolted rifle with the scuffed body and eyepiece in Walter Jones's office is the weapon of the crime.
Mm-hmm.
Killed by one of his own weapons. How ironic.
And where was the shot fired from? Well, now we also have that one to work on. In fact, we have everything for that one. So let's see. Document, of course, the facts of the autopsy report. And one last thing, the wood chips. Because that...
From where was the shot fired? The shot was fired from the window of Walter Jones's library.
Yep. So much is
The shot
given.
was fired from the window of Walter Jones's library.
Hey, I'm proud of you. Very good work, Jack. From 200 meters in the middle of a storm? Your murderer has to be a top-class shot to succeed with a shot like that.
That's for sure. It's a real distance in the middle of the night, even if there was lightning. He's a master shot.
All right. Master shot. Yeah. That's tricky even for a sniper. All right. Let's go talk to Lorenzo. Okay, and before we go up to floor 22, I just want to make sure Lorenzo's up there. Okay. Okay, he should be up there. Ah, Lorenzo, there you are. Just the man I want to talk to.
Lorenzo, I got the Rogatory Commission along with all the powers that go with it. And I need a key card that opens all the doors in this tower.
No problem. Here, take this. It belongs to an employee who had access to all the rooms in the tower. And then, find the guilty party as fast as you can, Inspector.
Thanks, Lorenzo.
Alright, well now I gotta talk to you, Lorenzo. Don't...
I warn you, the rules have changed. I am the inspector officially in charge of the investigation of the murder of Walter Jones, and I therefore have all powers at my disposal to bring this investigation to a close.
All right.
This document seems to incriminate Noland. I'm wondering if you know something that is liable to contradict it?
Mr. Jones was not about to confide in me on this matter, my dear Norm. But I came across Noland when he came out of the boss's office the afternoon of his death, and you should have seen his face. I'd never seen him in such a state. What you tell me doesn't surprise me. I can tell you that Noland is a real SOB. That he embezzled money from the pension funds of Jones's cement factory doesn't surprise me in the least.
Okay.
The autopsy is categorical. Walter Jones died from a bullet wound in his back, and not as a result of his fall from the Tortoise Belvedere. With all the doubts stemming from the circumstances, Baena has nothing to do with the death. Nevertheless, I would love to have your point of view on this.
Oh, that's great news. Baena's cleared of all suspicion. It's fully to your credit that you recognized your mistake, Norm. I imagine that you weren't at all aware of the arm that was used in the crime, Inspector.
What were you doing at the hour of the crime, around 11 p.m.?
But I already told you, Norm. I hated Mr. Jones for what he did to Baena. But despite everything, I'm sorry for the death of the old man, believe me. I remember being surprised by Baena's violence. Even if I could understand that she was taking revenge for Jones's beastly brutality. After his fall, I came out of my hiding place to reassure Baena. I promised her that I would protect her. I was ready to give evidence that the old satyr had assaulted her again. But Baena pushed me away and fled to take refuge in her father's cabin. At that moment, I confess, I was convinced that she'd intentionally pushed him, that she'd ruminated over taking revenge against Jones, and that if she'd agreed to accompany her torturer on his stroll, it wasn't totally innocent. In fact, I thought maybe she was waiting for a chance to revenge herself. And now, Inspector, you're telling me that Baena is innocent. Oh, now I am sure that she must detest me for having thought her guilty.
This man was a damn maniac. He seemed to fuss over these weapons with great diligence.
Mr. Jones was a long-time hunter, Norm. And like all self-respecting hunters, he took great care of his guns.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Tell me, you have an impressive sports record, Mr. Battaglieri. You haven't completely lost your touch, I suppose.
I don't like your question, Inspector. I can see what you're getting at, you know.
You don't have to worry if you have nothing to reproach yourself for.
I admit that I was a very respectable shot in my youth. But the taste for weapons has now passed, you see.
Did Walter Jones wear this chain around his neck?
I can corroborate that, Norm. It was this chain.
Okay.
Do you know if Walter Jones was wearing something around his neck on the night of his death?
I remember very well that Mr. Jones always wore his chain around his neck. Why would he have taken it off? It had the key to his room and to his safe hung from it.
Interesting.
Do you know who in this tower knows how to use a gun?
Apart from Walter Jones, I don't really know.
Did you see anyone in the library the evening of the murder?
You know perfectly well that I was not there, Norm. On the other hand, the computer ought to be able to tell us. All you have to do is ask it. But I have to know Mr. Jones's secret code. You understand, my boss didn't want cards assigned giving access to his office and his library without his consent. Do you have the code, Inspector?
Sorry, but I don't have it.
What a nuisance. Oh, but wait. I know that Jones hid the code in his desk. Unfortunately, I don't know precisely where.
Interesting.
I'll take note of it.
All right, let's find Nolan. Heliport Lounge. Okay. All right, let's go find him. Let's see. Oh, I could have gone over here. You could have told me that before. Trying to find Noland. No. No. There he is.
I need you to enlighten me on a point.
Yeah. Let's
The
talk.
resale price of your shares to your boss seems pretty ridiculous, Noland. It seems like some kind of arrangement between you both. Tell me if I'm mistaken.
The truth is that I am very indebted to Walter Jones in many spheres. Therefore, I voluntarily helped him by ceding him my shares at a moderate price. It was in order to strengthen Walter's position in his own firm in light of the merger with the company World Cement. A plan that was essential for Walter and his family, you understand? How could I not have helped him, Inspector?
This document is crushing, Noland. What do you have to say in your defense?
Crushing? You're going too far, Inspector. I'm not going to pretend to be a professor of financial economics, but I do know that the CWPF received very handsome dividends, whereas my company suffered terrible setbacks in the financial markets. And I'll add that if the Construction Workers' Pension Fund had really wanted to secure its investments, it ought to have invested in Treasury bonds. The fund couldn't have been ignorant about that. The real victim is not the one we suspect, Inspector.
These documents attest that you had an accomplice and that you personally benefited at the expense of the employees of World Cement by using the company high placement, which you then got rid of. The collection of these proofs could be a very good motive for killing Walter Jones.
He's
Wait
right.
a second, Inspector. I willingly acknowledge that I helped my niece find a job. She's a brilliant young girl, and it was unacceptable that she was on unemployment. As for this so-called financial embezzlement, I only paid myself for the worth of my work and my expertise. That doesn't make me a murderer.
Stop making fun of me, Noland. I'm beginning to see clearly through your petty skullduggery. You're going to respond to all of this in front of the court. Be sure of that.
I know the law well, and I know my rights, Inspector. I therefore refuse to continue this interrogation with you. I've nothing more to say to you in this regard.
This transfer of shares reimburses Walter Jones to the penny, the money you embezzled, Mr. Noland.
I have to confess that the facts are against me.
Yeah.
I had a long meeting with Walter Jones at the end of the afternoon on the very day of his death, Inspector. Walter was distrustful of everything, myself included. He had financed an investigation of my account, and he discovered what you know. Walter threatened to expose me to the courts. He had me, well and good. The old fox. He demanded that I retroactively transfer my shares in the Jones Company. Well, I drew up the paperwork for the transfer at the end of the afternoon. Walter and I were to have signed it after dinner.
Noland, you had good reason to get rid of Walter Jones. I'm wondering under what circumstances these confessions could have been extracted.
I won't deny that that is my signature. But you should know, Inspector, that these confessions were extracted from me by blackmail. And obviously without any witness, they therefore have no legal value. Inspector Norm, I know that appearances are against me, but I can assure you that I am no murderer.
I could not have imagined that Jones could be such a bastard. And between us, I have the impression that you are not much better than him.
I thank you for the compliment, Inspector Norm. You can think whatever you want of me. My conscience is clear. I am, anyway, truly sorry to learn that Clara's father has serious health problems. I did everything to ensure that the Jones Company fall back in the lap of the Jones family. After all, the Jones grandchildren are not so blameworthy as to lose everything.
Hmm.
Walter Jones was not fond of Clara.
Walter Jones certainly asked me to find out about the chances of buying back Clara's father's consulting firm. I was supposed to advise Walter on the optimal moment to buy back the firm. At the best price, obviously.
Hmm.
I think that Walter Jones was unfair to Christina. I find her rather pleasant. Do you think, like him, that she's a gold digger without any scruples? After all, she could also have been interested in the estate.
Walter Jones didn't handle people with kid gloves, and Christina Bronsky was no exception, Inspector. Walter knew that Christina was manipulative and scheming. He was also well informed of Christina's limits. I don't think she will succeed in diverting the estate for her profit, despite her physical assets, which are obvious to the eyes, if I might dare say so.
Mm-hmm.
This man was a damn maniac. He seemed to fuss over these weapons with great diligence.
Walter Jones was a great hunter who did not let anyone take care of the maintenance of his guns. He shut himself for long hours in his office. Later, the whole room smelled of flax oil that he used abundantly to shine the wood of his rifles. I surprised him cleaning his guns the very afternoon of his death when I joined him for work.
Hmm.
So Lorenzo was formerly a biathlon champion. He hid this talent from me, you see. I suppose he didn't lose any of his qualities as a sharpshooter.
Lorenzo definitely knows how to shoot. He often borrowed a rifle from Walter. To distract himself, he enjoyed shooting gulls from the window of his studio. I confess that he had developed a certain expertise in this activity. He claimed that the acidic excrement from these birds was likely to prematurely endanger certain ornamental sidings that decorated the summit of the tower.
Hmm.
Did Walter Jones wear this chain around his neck?
No doubt about it. This one looks a lot like it.
Hmm.
This family photo is very touching. I imagine that you learned to shoot because you have a gun in your hands?
This photo was taken in Tanzania. That year I was very much part of the hunting party, even though I never liked to shoot animals. At the time, Walter loved taking his grandchildren on safari. He maintained that it contributed to their education.
Explain to me why this gun has your fingerprints, Mr. Noland.
I knew that I ought to have told you from the beginning, but I was afraid that you would suspect I was the murderer. When I saw that something was turning out badly between Baina and Walter, I took this rifle and I removed the eyepiece to observe what was going on. I was more than 200 meters away, and it was thanks to this rifle scope that I could distinguish Baina, who was pushing Walter over the edge. But the idea of shooting at Walter never crossed my mind. Why would I have killed him? He who made my career and generously remunerated me for my services.
You already lied to me. Now you want me to believe that you did not make use of this gun? How do you want me to believe you again, Noland? Okay, and supposing I believe you used the rifle as binoculars and not as a weapon, who could have taken the rifle after you and shot Walter Jones?
I didn't run into anyone when I left my office. I'm the only one left in the tower who has a key card to enter this office. I don't understand how Walter Jones could have been killed by this rifle. Please, believe me.
After all, why not?
Yeah. I don't buy it. Alright, let's go talk to Sonia. Where is she at? Biana. Oh yeah, they probably had to come inside. Technical workshop. Okay. Because we're gonna go talk to her. Because we need some more information. I think Sonia has some. In fact, I want to talk to certain people before we called an episode.
You see this Rogatory Commission? Well, it gives me the right to rummage through all the nooks and corners of this tower, including your personal properties and items, take note.
Oh boy, we got a lot to talk to her
This
about.
document seems to incriminate Noland. I'm wondering if you know something that is liable to contradict it?
I don't know anything about this business, and I wonder if it's not yet another of my grandfather's dirty tricks. You know, Mr. Norm, he was really of a sort. He loved destroying people. Maybe he wanted to destroy Noland for pleasure. Maybe Noland knew too many things that could have compromised him, and my grandfather wanted to get rid of his attorney.
Possible.
This transfer of shares fully reimburses Walter Jones for the embezzlement of funds by Hubert de Noland, doesn't it?
He succeeded in beating Hubert de Noland at his own game. That's all. My grandfather was very smart, you have to admit.
Okay.
Sorry, but I understand nothing about architecture. I would like to have some things in this sketchbook explained.
You'd better ask Lorenzo for this, Inspector Norm.
This menu seems utterly appetizing. Tell me, what are we eating today?
Don't get your hopes up, Inspector. Wasn't the chef recently laid off?
Yep.
This tower on this wild island, far from everything.
I
Isn't
got a
it
lot of
madness?
stuff to catch up
My
on.
grandfather asked me to write up a section on history for this pamphlet. I'm an anthropologist by training, specializing in the arts of the Americas and Oceania, and I'm very interested in Maldivian culture. But in the end, what I wrote was cut.
What luxury. For some, the world is all roses. But where did the staff go? I don't see them.
I don't know. You have to ask Noland. He's the one in charge of these practical questions. This building is kind of a megalomaniacal gesture, I must say. So big in such a small and wretched place. Still, I'm sorry that the exercise rooms with pool, sauna, and natural thermal baths were not constructed. That would really have been awesome, don't you think?
Yeah.
The autopsy is categorical. Walter Jones died from a bullet wound in his back, and not as a result of his fall from the Tortoise Belvedere. With all the doubts stemming from the circumstances, Baena has nothing to do with the death. Nevertheless, I would love to have your point of view on this.
It's a nightmare. My grandfather killed by a bullet, but I don't understand. It's not possible.
Yeah, it is.
What were you doing at the hour of the crime, around 11 p.m.?
I was at the restaurant between 9:45 p.m. and 11 p.m. First, I cleared the table with Billy and Clara. Since there was no more staff, we were obviously obliged to cope by ourselves, weren't we? After this, I watched a bit of television with Martin. Billy was bored stiff and suggested we play poker. Outside of poker, you know, I don't think anything else exists for my brother. Clara had a row with him, as usual, and the mood deteriorated. On top of that, poker bores me. So, Martin, Christina, and Billy began a hand, and I went up to Lorenzo's studio. Up there, the view is spectacular. I wanted to watch the storm which had started to lash the island. I always loved storms. I was alone. Lorenzo was not there. I helped myself to a drink. But let me point out to you right away, Inspector, I could not see the coastal path. Lorenzo's studio does not overlook that part of the island at all. After a while, Lorenzo was still not back, and I'd had enough. Don't misunderstand me, Mr. Norm. I wanted to chat with him. There's no ambiguity in our relationship. He's an eccentric fellow and a little cuckoo, and I wanted a change of air. I came back down to the restaurant, and I found Billy, Martin, and Christina still in the thick of it. And the sight was intolerable. Billy almost ruined his life with poker, and it's very painful for me to watch him play like an addict. Christina had left to go to bed. Martin wanted to read a manuscript for his publishing house, and he went back to our room. The storm had excited me, and I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep, so I stayed on with Billy and Clara. We talked. At one moment I remember we stopped because it was thundering so loudly. It was really impressive. You could see the landscape across the panoramic window like in broad daylight. And I started to worry about our grandfather. After all, he was an old man, and it bothered me to know that he was outside in weather like that. I asked myself what he was up to. Finally, I told Billy that we had to go and check things out. He asked me to first give him one last whiskey. My brother was also an alcoholic, Mr. Norm, you'll realize soon enough. So I poured him a glass, and I served myself a glass of wine to keep him company. We talked about this and that till 11:30 p.m. We'd almost forgotten about grandfather.
With regard to Walter Jones, everyone plays the victim. but some people didn't refrain from trying to make him fall from his perch.
I'm not the one who started this procedure, Inspector. It is Hubert de Noland who suggested this to Billy and me. I acknowledge that I supported and signed this procedure, but please understand me. Noland saw my grandfather often, which was not the case with me. I thought he was telling the truth about my grandfather turning senile.
Well, if you had thought you would inherit, it seems to me that this is in a little danger.
I didn't have any illusions about my grandfather for a long time, Mr. Norm. And this repugnant letter only reinforces my convictions. Walter Jones is good and proper, one of the biggest jerks I know.
What did you get in return for rescinding that Walter Jones be put under psychiatric care?
Listen, Mr. Norm, I don't want to tell you tales. It was a give and take between us. My grandfather was rewriting his will in our favor, something which is utterly normal and which happens in every family in the world, I'll allow myself to remind you, in exchange for which Billy and I accepted to sign this paper. My grandfather manipulated us one more time. He took us for a big ride. In my view, we'll get nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Why did Jones speak of your desire for revenge against him?
Mr. Norm, I will never forget, you hear me, never, that day. The day when I was able to restore some dignity to my father, who was humiliated by this jerk Walter Jones. And if I'd had a shorter temper, I would have killed my grandfather that day. It was everything he deserved. Yes, I would have so liked to kill Walter Jones.
Did Walter Jones wear this chain around his neck?
I wouldn't stake my life on it, but this chain looks very much like the one my grandfather had.
This family photo is very touching. I imagine that you learned to shoot because you have a gun in your hands?
My God, you're bringing back memories, Inspector. I had forgotten this. It was nevertheless marvelous. My grandfather took us to a hunting reserve in Tanzania. There, Walter Jones was like a child. Yes, it's one of the best memories I will keep of him. His childlike laughter during the safari.
If Noland is to be believed, the young Baina literally cast a spell on Walter Jones. What do you know about this?
Mr. Norm, I don't have any illusions about my grandfather's morality, and Baina is far from being stupid. She knows that Walter Jones is a very rich man, and I believe she's very capable of using her charms with some talent.
What reasons could Billy have had for hating his grandfather?
For hating him? Plenty. For killing him? If that's where you want to go, none. Walter Jones never liked the side of him that was irresponsible and gambled, and he told him more than once. Billy is sometimes in dire financial straits, and our grandfather never helped him. That's why they didn't get along. But I'll tell you again, my brother is a peach, and would never hurt a soul.
Yeah, I believe that.
So, tell me a little about Billy.
I love my brother, Inspector, but he worries me sometimes. He loves to gamble too much, and I'm afraid that he's throwing his career to the wind because of this.
What do you think of Christina?
Christina's body is an asset. I suppose it hasn't escaped you, Inspector. And she knows perfectly well how to make the most of what nature has given her. She seduces with the same ease with which others breathe.
I would like to know more about Martin.
Martin is my husband, and I'm happy with him, Inspector. All is said, or almost. I admire my husband, and I admire his professional courage. It's not a secret. Martin has financial problems with his publishing firm, but I am by his side.
What can you tell me about Marco?
Marco is my darling younger brother, Inspector. What else can I tell you? I will always be there for him, no matter what happens.
Okay.
What can you tell me about Clara?
I like my sister-in-law very much, Inspector. Clara reminds me of my grandmother, Anna Jones. The same kindness.
Okay.
Do you know if Walter Jones was wearing something around his neck on the night of his death?
Yes, I remember that my grandfather wore a small chain. I am certain, Mr. Norm.
Okay.
Do you know who in this tower knows how to use a gun?
I saw Lorenzo Battiglieri use a rifle on gulls. It was a long time ago, but I don't think he has lost his dexterity, even if he is loaded with antidepressants.
Did you see anyone in the library the evening of the murder?
Why this question, Mr. Norm, since you already know? I was not in the library before or during the murder of my grandfather.
I get it.
Okay. Now, we gotta go down and talk to Marco. Where's Marco? Marco! Dining room. Okay. Dining room, yes.
I must take your fingerprints for the investigation.
I imagine that I really don't have a choice for the requirements of the investigation, Inspector.
Thanks. You see this Rogatory Commission? Well, it gives me the right to rummage through all the nooks and corners of this tower, including your personal properties and items, take note.
Now, talking with...
This document seems to incriminate Noland. I'm wondering if you know something that is liable to contradict it?
Grandfather mentioned his doubts about his attorney in passing, but I ascribed it to his naturally cautious temperament, which was almost suspicious. I could never have imagined that Noland could have fallen to this. I'm surprised that he got away with it.
This transfer of shares fully reimburses Walter Jones for the embezzlement of funds by Hubert de Noland, doesn't it?
It seems obvious to me, Inspector, that this transfer confirms that Grandfather had found a way to have Hubert de Noland pay for his swindling.
The autopsy is categorical. Walter Jones died from a bullet wound in his back, and not as a result of his fall from the Tortoise Belvedere. With all the doubts stemming from the circumstances, Baena has nothing to do with the death. Nevertheless, I would love to have your point of view on this.
You can see that I'm staggered by this news, Inspector. My grandfather was murdered. I don't understand anything anymore, I confess. I can only count on you to shed light on this business as quickly as possible.
Yep.
What were you doing at the hour of the crime, around 11 p.m.?
It seems to me that I have already answered this, Inspector. You ought to go and have another look at your notes.
Yeah!
With regard to Walter Jones, everyone plays the victim. But some people didn't refrain from trying to make him fall from his perch.
Listen, Inspector, I have nothing to do with this. Billy and Sonia had their reasons, which I did not share. I can more or less understand them, but I don't subscribe to this type of method within the family. One can handle things in another way, it seems to me.
Well, if you had thought you would inherit, it seems to me that this is in a little danger.
I acknowledge that my grandfather's hostile and fairly backward attitude towards Christina hurt me a lot, and no doubt it distanced us from one another. Without a doubt, I am paying the consequences for it today at a high price, Inspector.
What did you get in return for rescinding that Walter Jones be put under psychiatric care?
I didn't sign this document because I was against Billy's and Sonia's idea to put my grandfather under psychiatric care.
Okay.
What was Walter Jones' position with regards to your political career, Marco?
He was not interested in my career of late, Inspector. Grandfather thought Christina was a schemer who was bad for my electoral campaign, that she was, in a way, badly cast for the role, politically incorrect. He wanted me to break up with Christina. I could not bring myself to do this, Inspector. My girlfriend runs my career with verve and intelligence. We're a darned good team together, and it's out of the question that I leave her. You know, last month, Christina was subject to a terrible attack, but I refuse to believe that Walter Jones could be behind it.
Hello?
I think that your grandfather was pretty unfair to your girlfriend. Christina seems to be very nice.
My grandfather didn't like Christina. For him, all girls from Eastern Europe were unscrupulous gold diggers. Unfortunately, it's no longer possible for me today to get him to change his mind, Inspector.
Yeah.
Do you think Walter Jones's fears about Christina were justified?
I owe a lot of things to my grandfather, and in the past he was an excellent advisor, but his mistrust of Christina was unfounded. You know, Inspector, even my electors are charmed by her. That said, if one day I had to choose between her and politics, you could be sure I would choose her.
Well,
This page from Jones's diary about Christina's aggression seems totally like a confession to me.
Yes, Of course, I had doubted the facts at times. I asked my grandfather for an account, but he always denied having ordered the aggression. I thank you, Inspector, for furnishing me with this proof. Walter Jones is dead. Peace be with him. But at least this sad affair has been brought to light.
Yeah.
Why did Walter Jones talk about Sonia's desire for revenge?
I remember Sonia's courage in defending our father, who had been humiliated by Walter Jones. I admire her enormously for having had the courage. My father, Edward Jones, was not a man of stature, you understand. For a long time, I admired my grandfather and despised my father.
You seem to me to have great skill as a marksman. Do you continue to practice this discipline, Marco?
This article is very flattering. I ought to know, Inspector. It's the press kit for my election campaign. It was written up by a very obliging journalist. I add that my drill sergeant liked me. He exaggerates my slight talent as a marksman. Today, I've certainly lost the touch. I've not fired a shot in a long time.
Did Walter Jones wear this chain around his neck?
I think so, Inspector.
Okay.
This family photo is very touching. I imagine that you learned to shoot because you have a gun in your hands?
This photo reminds me of the most beautiful moments with my grandfather. I remember that he gave us small camp rifles and took us to the foot of the acacia trees to shoot at little green monkeys that were stealing our provisions. It was a little barbaric as a form of entertainment, I give you that.
Do you know if Walter Jones was wearing something around his neck on the night of his death?
I didn't pay a lot of attention, but I seem to remember that my grandfather indeed wore a small chain.
Ah.
Do you know who in this tower knows how to use a gun?
The architect, for sure. I was able to watch him once. From the window of his studio, Lorenzo Battaglieri was shooting down gulls that were in mid-flight, and I can confirm, Inspector, that he was a top-class shot.
Did you see anyone in the library the evening of the murder?
No, I am unaware of what happens around me when I'm asleep, Inspector.
I understand.
Okay. We're missing something, it seems. Alright, well, let's get some things together here and see what we have. That's one. Okay, photo of the safari. The marksman trophy. Everything else is declarations.
Well, this photo was taken in Tanzania.
Okay. Sonia. Billy. I want to talk to Billy. Have I? Good grief. Okay. Sonia. Lorenzo. Okay, let me find Lorenzo. But Billy? I didn't even speak with Billy, did I? No. Well, where the hell is Billy? In the kitchen. He was the one I saw. Well, now's a good time to talk to him. And we'll get that last one figured out and we'll call it an episode.
I must take your fingerprints for the investigation.
Good. Well done, man. What do you want me to say?
Thanks. Henceforth, I have a mandate and I represent the law. So no more evasive responses.
Okay, so we're talking with Billy now.
This document seems to incriminate Noland. I'm wondering if you know something that is liable to contradict it?
I never liked this Nolan fellow, but now it's for a good reason. It seems pretty damning, Inspector.
This transfer of shares fully reimburses Walter Jones for the embezzlement of funds by Hubert de Noland, doesn't it?
Wow, Norm. If you ask me, with this, Mr. Hubert de Noland seems pretty much in hot water.
Yeah.
The autopsy is categorical. Walter Jones died from a bullet wound in his back, and not as a result of his fall from the Tortoise Belvedere. With all the doubts stemming from the circumstances, Baena has nothing to do with the death. Nevertheless, I would love to have your point of view on this.
What are you saying? They shot the old man? Wow, we're swimming in a real crime novel now, Norm. And I bet you're going to conduct an investigation and unmask the guilty party, right?
Right.
What were you doing at the hour of the crime, around 11 p.m.?
I played poker with Martin and Christina between 9:45 p.m. and 11:15 p.m. And of course, I had a row with my wife, who made a scene because of it. She hates the game. I asked myself how I can still tolerate her. Sonia and Martin, they fought over something petty. I can't remember what it was. In any case, Sonia was really tense. She left to calm down a little. And it was her, I stress it was her, who came back for our grandfather. She was beside herself with worry that he should be out in such horrible weather. We discussed it and said that we better check out where the old guy was. It was 11:30 p.m. and it was then that Nolan burst into the room telling us that our grandfather was dead.
With regard to Walter Jones, everyone plays the victim. But some people didn't refrain from trying to make him fall from his perch.
Oh, you know I didn't take part in this thing wholeheartedly. Sonia and Martin had their reasons, and I had mine.
Well, if you had thought you would inherit, it seems to me that this is in a little danger.
Helping for grandfather's estate is like betting on a bad hand. One has little chance of winning. I'm a gambler. I counted on it anyway. I shouldn't have.
What did you get in return for rescinding that Walter Jones be put under psychiatric care?
Well, it was our only chance to recoup our grandfather's estate. Well, as I said, my grandfather brought Sonia and me together in his office to sign this paper. He made an impossibly huge fuss about how he had fired all his staff and how it was a call for help. He wanted us to take care of him and pamper him. Us, his cherished grandchildren. See what kind of guy he is? We asked to see his will, but what do you think? What play acting when I think back. He was a big bluffer, the old man. He wouldn't have been bad at poker.
Ah, well, Billy. I had this impression that you shook a stick at a beehive, and that you dragged your family into this murky business.
Well, it's true, I confess. I made a real mess of things. And then after all, it doesn't surprise me that my miserly grandfather hated me to the end. Nevertheless, I trusted him. I thought he was going to help me out, or that his estate would help me later. And then the old jerk didn't lift his little finger when Grigory Pavliev, the insane mafia don, contracted someone to deliver my head. You're from the police. You have to get me out of this situation, Norm. Otherwise, I'm a dead man.
Walter Jones was not fond of Clara.
I dragged a lot of people I love into hot water. Gambling, drugs, all that. I know. My grandfather was pitiless towards me. He never gave a single cent to save me from misery. But still, he could have spared my wife and my father-in-law. But that's the way it is. I'm a good-for-nothing, and Walter Jones was the worst of sharks.
I didn't think Jones was such a jerk. And his accomplice, Nolan, doesn't seem to be much better.
Inspector, I know that my father-in-law has some major health issue, and that it's all my fault. My wife is angry at me. It's to be expected. But Walter Jones could have arranged everything just by lifting his little finger. He preferred to take advantage of the situation by preying on my father-in-law's business. He's the king of jerks, and his acolyte is more or less the same, Norm.
Why did Walter Jones talk about Sonia's desire for revenge?
The truth is that Sonia is the bravest of us all. She really has courage, if you see what I'm trying to say. The grandfather always knew this. He was afraid of her and respected her. Sonia didn't fall for it. She was the only one who fought back. You understand?
Yep.
Did Walter Jones wear this chain around his neck?
Well done, Inspector. That's the chain.
This family photo is very touching. I imagine that you learned to shoot because you have a gun in your hands?
Oh yeah, I remember. Sometimes it was really fun. I was a kid, and the lions and the elephants and all that, it suited me fine. But hunting? No. Really not my thing. You had to walk for hours and hours to finally come face to face with a beast that wanted nothing to do with you. My grandfather took me for a moron because I was no good at it.
I was told that you are a gambling addict of sorts.
It's not a secret for anyone. Gambling is stronger than I am.
It seems that you have financial problems, Billy.
No, some small gambling debts, basically.
Marco says that your childish irresponsibility is painful for your family. What is he talking about?
I love my brother, but he ought to mind his own business. It's true that I owe some money to my wife's father, but that doesn't concern him. I've never asked anything of my brothers and sisters.
Wow.
Do you know if Walter Jones was wearing something around his neck on the night of his death?
I didn't pay a lot of attention, but I remember that my grandfather always wore a small chain. Ever since he built this tower, I always saw him wearing a chain. Of that, I'm sure.
Okay.
Do you know who in this tower knows how to use a gun?
On that point, Inspector, I haven't got the foggiest.
Did you see anyone in the library the evening of the murder?
Listen, I already told you everything about this. In the end, Inspector, your questions are exhausting.
I understand.
Okay. Now we have the last bit of documentation.
Who is a good shot? Lorenzo, Marco, Noland, Billy, and Sonia are good shots.
Yeah. And I think this is a good place to... Oh,
Lorenzo and Noland are very good shots. As for the grandchildren, it's Grandpa Jones who educated them. A special mention for Marco, who distinguished himself in the Army thanks to his talents as a shot. Billy's the only one who couldn't be trigger happy. Anyway, that's what he says. Gives us a good handful of suspects at any rate.
I'm delighted to see that things are moving well, Jack. Choose among your 3 suspects. You'll find a skillful gunslinger who used the weapon of the crime the evening that Walter Jones was sent to the kingdom of the dead.
mm-hmm. However, yes, it's automatically saved. And next time around, we will be, let me just see something.
Someone obviously stole the chain that Walter Jones wore around his neck. Why was this chain so important?
Yeah, we have to figure that one out. And let's see, how many clues do we have to that? We have some, but not all of them. And this new one. Who were the last people to go into the library before the murder?
If I find out who was in the library at the time of the crime, then I have a good chance of getting to the murderer.
Mm-hmm. And that one, I think, let's see, what do we have? We have no clues to that. So we're getting close to at least one more of the mandates. But we'll save all those for next time. So if you made it this far in the playthrough, please put in the comments, the victim was a son of a bitch. And next time, we'll continue this. Until then, everyone take care and all that. I hope everyone will be well. And check out all the videos that premiere on my channel. They premiere every day at 3 p.m. in a 2-week cycle. Besides this, I do runs through the game of Monstrum. I'm working my way through Aquaria, working my way through the Quest for Glory series, currently on Magic User playthrough, and playing as currently on the So You Want to Be Hero, the first one. Working my way through the Doom franchise, following Doom Guy / Doomslayer, currently on Doom Eternal, The Ancient Gods Part 2. Still working on that massive battle, but I'm getting better at it each time, hopefully. Working my way through the Evil Within series, currently on the Evil Within 2. Working my way through the Tomb Raider Survivor timeline, currently on Tomb Raider 2013. And also working my way through Dandara Trials of Fear. And a bunch of others. I also have stuff that premieres weekly at 10 a.m. Nothing on Sundays at the time this recording is made. Mondays, I'm working through Quest 64. Tuesday is reserved for fic readings. Wednesday, one of the first 7 Final Fantasies, first 3 Final Fantasy Legends, or Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger. Thursday, usually Dead by Daylight. Friday, a fighting game, ladder, or story mode. And Saturday, usually for a retrospective for a game or series I've finished the story mode on. So, until next time, take care all, and have fun. Bye all!